Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to all of you from wherever you may be listening to this in the world. NISSMAT brings you another episode of veterans who have done and brought laurels to the defense forces and to themselves. I am Pavanjit Aluwalia, the moderator of NISSMAT. Please do like and subscribe and press the bell icon on YouTube for NISSMAT podcasts to reach you immediately. In this episode, we talk with Colonel Virender Kapoor. In this interview, we will delve into the remarkable journey of Colonel Virender Kapoor, a distinguished military veteran from the Corps of Signals. As we sit down with him, we explore his transition from a decorated officer to a director at Symbiosis University's prestigious B School. With over 40 authored books translated into 7 languages, we uncover the diverse subjects he's tackled and the inspiration behind its literary endeavors. Please take time and sit through this video for a greater insight into Colonel Virender Kapoor. Colonel Virender Kapoor joined the National Defense Academy in the year of 1968. He joined the Indian Army as an officer in the Corps of Signals. He was excellent in academics. He's a thinker, an educationist, an author, columnist, and an inspirational guru. An Indian who wears many hats, an educationist of repute. He is a bachelor's in electronics, a master's in computer science from IIT Bombay. He's done a master's in international relations from Pune University and a post-graduation diploma in marketing. He was the director of a prestigious management institute, Symbiosis, for over a decade. As a celebrity author, his name appears with the likes of Thomas Friedman and Dale Carnegie. His books are now available in several regional and foreign languages, including Vietnamese. I begin by asking Colonel Virender Kapoor, what has his journey been from the armed forces to where he is today? So first we will talk about why did he join the National Defense Academy? Colonel Virender Kapoor.
No, I joined the NDA like most of us joined. Those days, we were all very excited about getting into the armed forces. And I think those days, this was one of the better options than anything else available those days in 1968. So that is how I went to the NDA. And then I think it was a very interesting 3 years. Now we call it interesting. Those days we used to hate being there in the academy because of the rigor. But I think that's all I can say. Over to you, Pawan.
How did your experience in the armed forces help you shape your career after you left the army?
See, I'll tell you, the National Defense Academy is such a wonderful place that if you watch on YouTube something on West Point or Sandhurst, we are even better than that. So I think it really builds up your self confidence and your overall personality, leadership qualities, or whatever you can look at. And when we went there, we were just about 16, 17 years old. And we were quite moldable in a way. And I think I learned whatever I am today, whatever little I have achieved, it's thanks to the NDA and my 27 years of service in the armed forces. Because it gives you opportunity to, deal with different situations, different people. You meet a lot of guys and that adaptability. So I think that helps you in, when you come. And in fact, I switched off to a totally different field, which was education. And sometimes one feels that, one would be a misfit. But I could use all my experience and use it very well. And I think I really enjoyed those 10 years in Symbiosis.
Virender, when you were in the army, you done a lot of educational or academics during your time in the armed forces. So, what are the courses that you did while you were serving in the defense?
See, I was an instructor in MCTE, that is Military College of Telecommunication Engineering of Signals. I was there for 4 years. Then I was also in the School of Artillery, Nashik. And there also I got a chance of, to take classes for the artillery officers. So 7, 8 years of teaching does give you a lot of confidence. And that, of course, helped me.
So, when did you do your computer science from IIT Bombay?
81 to 83.
That was still, that was the time when you were still serving the.
Yeah, 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 yeah. So there was a selection process and we went from the army. Some people went to IIT Kanpur, like I went, computer science was offered in IIT Bombay. So that was my preference, so I went there.
And your later education in terms of your diploma in
Eh,
marketing and international relations.
my MA was, I came on study leave, and that is how from here I finished my this, and then I got a job with Symbiosis in Pune.
So you were very focused that when you leave the defense services, you would get into the field of education.
Not exactly, but Pawan, it was a bit of an accident in the sense that when I was on study leave, I used to enjoy, taking classes in the uh, Pune University as well as in other Symbiosis Institute as a visiting faculty. And that time I wrote a book on telecom today, which is about 700 pages thick book, and it had just been published that time. So from there, I used to teach telecom to non-telecom. That was the basic fundamental. And I think somehow word went around, and I was offered this job. So that is how I done. But it was not really planned. I never thought that I'll become a director of such a prestigious B school. So that is what it is.
So what were your experiences as a director of a business school?
Oh, fantastic. I think that was the best time of my life in the sense, from the learning point of view. See, you had 300 students, and 90% of my students were engineers. And, to deal with these people, it's not that easy to, because, they are coming from different areas. Somebody is from South, somebody is from East. I mean, Symbiosis is a profile of students from all across the country. So you, it's a good learning experience because you got to be on your feet, on your toes all the time, and it was a long inning of 10 years. So it gave me, uh, I did a lot of new things. I introduced a lot of subjects. I brought finance into it in a serious way. I also brought liberal arts, and it was a very and that helped me in also in that environment gives you you know it encourages you to write. So that is why I started writing much more than what I was writing earlier. This telecom today I wrote when I was in the army. So I used to write for Times of India, Middles, and all that. So thoda writing bug was there, but it became more serious when I got into the institute.
Now you have a very diverse educational background, Virender, from electronics to telecom to computer sciences, international relations, marketing. What's been your inspiration for looking to diverse fields?
See, Pawan, a lot of people ask me, how do you write on so many topics? See, a writer is like an actor. I give an example that if Shah Rukh Khan can do, you know, songs and romantic roles and also do a negative role in a movie like Dar or Bazigar, then why not, as an author, you can experiment. I don't want to get into a genre of, let's say, only love story, horror, or fiction. So I keep trying experimenting. And I learned this from the Times of India. When I used to write middles, the advantage of TOI was, and I used to write for Hindustan Times also, that they let you write on anything under the sun. So you could write pun, fun, hard hitting. I had lots of things. So I could understand that, I have a style. I think I can experiment with different things. And that is what is good because, if you get stuck into one groove, there is no excitement. So whatever comes my way, I have written on Walt Disney, I have written on military principles, I have written on leadership, I have written a book on how to be a good boss. See, there's a difference between a boss and a leader. Like, boss is your immediate guy whom you report to. Leader could be, let's say, 3 lakh people in Infosys. Narayan Murthy is, let's say, the leader, but he's not your boss of 3 lakh people. He is the boss of the guys who are, in close proximity. So that was a book which was published by Bloomsbury. Bloomsbury is a British publisher who did this Harry Potter and things like that. So I've been experimenting, and I think that's the biggest fun of writing. Then you can experiment in different things, and when you listen to these actors also, that I want to try diverse roles. So not that it was by design, but it just happened that I was getting very good publishers and offers that write for us, and then of course it was a two-way street. I also used to pitch my ideas, and God willing, it worked.
Virender, with writing for columns in the Times of India or the Hindustan Times or writing middles is entirely different to writing books.
Of course.
There's a sea change between the two. So, how did you sort of become an author?
So that was also by an accident. I became an author by an accident. I was work. I was on a project, on a software project on battlefield information systems, what we call as C3I.
Hmm.
So I said, "Yeah, why not write an article?"
Nowadays, it's C4I.
C5I bolta hai koi, whatever. So you can keep adding those C's, but anyway, that those days it was C3I. So I wrote an article. So I'll take 2 minutes to explain to you. So I wrote an article, and the article became 80 pages. Can you believe it? So 80 pages, but it's stupidity. So I went to Computers Today. I went and met the editor. He was in F Block, Connaught Place in Delhi those days. His name is, I think, Raju. So I went to his office, and he was nice enough to, meet me. So I said, "Yeah, this is my article." So this is 80-page article, but my magazine is 90 pages. So I said, "No, I pleaded that, break it into, let's say, 8 to 10, carry it like a series or something." But he literally, shooed me out of his office. Okay, bhai, bahut ho gaya yaar. And he says, "Can you make it one page?" I said, "How can I make the 80 pages into one page, yaar?" Then I went to a friend of mine, and I was looking very disgusted. He said, "Why are you so disgusted?" I said, "यार उसने मेरे को ना अपने ऑफिस से निकाल दिया." And he said कि ये चलेगा नहीं ऐसा. So, and I got much more to write. So he said, "यार, if you got so much to write, why don't you write a book?" It had never crossed my mind that I can write a book. So the first book I wrote was on C3I, and it went off very well. all IIMs and all that used it, and it was a little simplified version of C3I for a common man. तो वहां से ऐसे एक्सीडेंटली मैं एक ऑथर बन गया. सो दिस इज माय स्टोरी. एंड देन फिर मेरे को एक वो उसका चस्का लग गया लिखने का.
Virender, who was your first publisher?
हाँ, so that is also a very good thing. Allied publishers who published this book of this
C3I.
जगमोहन की बुक थी ना, वो फ्रोजन, my frozen years in Kashmir or something like that.
हाँ.
So I went to them, but they said that will take 2 years to publish. I said I don't have so much of time. So they said this is your first book. So I said, okay, that is first book, but you can't take 2 years. So I went for self-publishing. I spent my own money. I knew that my content is good. So I sold good number of copies. I published it myself, edited myself. Everything was, but it was not a very great job because, it was my first book and, doing everything on your own, diagrams, etc. उस time पे computer भी नहीं थे. So, you had to draw those diagrams on that butter paper, engage an artist to make it. So it was a job. I won't say it was a shoddy job, but it was a good job. And I was happy कि हाँ किताब बन गई. And I could launch my book in, launch means I could send it out in about 6 months. So I didn't have to wait for 2 years. So that my second publisher was Macmillan. So, no, sorry. My second book was on telecom, which was published by Allied. Again, they kept me on the bloody hook for almost 2 years. And they published it. But it was a good job done. But it was hardbound copy, about $800 those days. That was the pricing. Then I said, हाँ यार मैं अब author बन गया. Then I went to, Macmillan. Now Macmillan is a big name. It's in those, they have those big four, Random House, Macmillan, HarperCollins करके इनके एक बिग फोर का इनका ग्रुप है, जैसे KPMG वगैरह नहीं है कंसल्टिंग में. So I was bloody made to wait outside that office for 1 hour, 2 hours. And it is something जैसे एक्टर काम मांगने जाता है ना, स्टूडियो बाय स्टूडियो कि सर मेरे को एक शॉट दे दो, एक रोल दे दो, एक गाना दे दो. तो मैं उसके बाद बाहर बैठा, मैन्युस्क्रिप्ट मेरे पास मैन्युस्क्रिप्ट भी नहीं थी. सॉरी, I had no, but I had a synopsis. I had an idea. So I met their, they call it chief publisher or something like that. They don't call it editor-in-chief. So I will not name him, but he became a friend later on. So he said, there is a manuscript. I said, I don't have manuscript. He said, you're talking to Macmillan. I said, you're talking to me. I said, क्या होगा, लाती मार देगा ना, मना ही कर देगा ना. So I went there. I told him, I said, look, this is my idea of a book on emotional intelligence, but it was a different kind of a approach. So very reluctantly, having a cup of coffee, he took my synopsis of 2 pages. So I was sure that he will not publish, but in 17 days, I remember 17, I got a mail that we'll send you a contract, you write for us. That was, I think, a big kick I got. And that book, Pawan, was reprinted 22 times by Macmillan, and it was translated in 7 regional languages, and it was also picked up by Vietnamese. And how Vietnamese happened? One day I got a mail on my mail ID. So I was about to delete it, thinking कि कोई साला virus ना हो. But somehow I opened it. So it was a publisher from Vietnam that we want to publish, translate it into Vietnamese. Although Vietnam is a very small country, but you get that,
international flavor.
you get that kick. हाँ चलो यार मेरी Then I asked them, "Yeah, where did you get this book from?" So they say we picked it up from a airport in Paris.
Hmm.
So I said, "Yeah, Virender Kapoor, you have bloody arrived. मेरी किताब पेरिस पहुंच गई." तो उन्होंने, so it offer came from them, and within 6 months it was done. Then after that, कुछ ऐसा रेपो बन गया. They published 3 of my books. They translated, and they are still, you know, they have a contract of 1 year or 2 years. वो भी चल रहा है contract उनके साथ. तो that is how I think destiny kaho, luck kaho, whatever, but it worked.
How long does it take you to write a book, let's say of 700, 800? Now, each of your book, I've seen some of them are less number of pages, some of them are very large. Uh, does it depend on the subject?
I'll tell you, I have signed and I will not say open contract or something, but there's an understanding between me and Rupa. Now, Rupa is one of the biggest publishers in India in trade publishing. So I've written a series of books on, let's say, leadership the Gandhi way, speaking the Modi way, creativity the Walt Disney way, innovation the Einstein way. So on these, certain personalities, like even I wrote a book on Chanakya. So these are, as per the discussion, these books are supposed to be short, about 30,000 words to 36,000 words. So this does not take much. It takes a lot of time to do, digging out research. But today, internet is such a boon for authors like us that, you should know what to find and where to look for. And you can cross check. I wrote this book on military principles, I was myself amazed that staying in the army for 27 years, I knew nothing. In the sense, it was a relearning. There was so much in First World War, so much in Second World War. We did projects in NDA, or if you remember, that, that time I remember this word KIEV, KIEV, जो आजकल बहुत शोर लगा हुआ ना उसका इसमें यूक्रेन वॉर में.
हाँ.
तो I had some छोटा मोटा idea about, Operation Barbarossa, नाम वाम तो सुने थे. But when you start writing, you are open in the market. So you cannot sort of, write something because you are an open book. Somebody can criticize you. And my books have been reviewed by almost all major, magazines like Business India, Business World, Business Today, The Week, and they have given rave reviews. So, coming back to your question, it takes a lot of effort because, I am quite a disciplined writer. Again, that I learned from the army. That, जब एक बार शुरू हो जाता है ना, धुन लग जाती है लिखने की, तो then there is no going back. Then I sleep with the book, I bathe with the book, I eat with the book. The whole day that damn thing goes in your head. So it's like a bug, in your brain, and वो घूमता रहता है, घूमता रहता है, घूमता रहता है. And I do that, what they call chewing the cud, जुगाली करते हैं ना जैसे. So I keep thinking about a book. I don't write. First, I think about it. When I go for a walk, I'm thinking about it. कि ये कर सकते हैं, ये कर सकते हैं. And then, the most difficult part of writing a book is your, the structure of the book. Because once your structure is ready, then rest is filling the blanks.
Yeah.
So now I write very quickly. Now I churn out about 3 to 4 books a year.
So how do you do it? You speak into the thing, or you write it down?
No, you see, when I was earlier, when I had some secretarial help, I used to write with a pencil on a paper. And my handwriting is so horrible that I can't read my own handwriting. But my secretary was good enough. She could, type it out. But then later on, now when I'm totally retired, I'm only writing books. So I've got that now synchronization between me and writing on a comp. I type with two fingers, but ho jata. I do it myself now. I
Uh,
am now independent.
you see, you could speak into your computer and it will type for you automatically.
No, I can't speak like I'm speaking to you. It's
Ah.
like some people have that habit of dictating. I have never done that. So it's what suits you, your way of working, your style. Again, I'll compare with actors. Some actors say we prepare for a role. Some actors say no, we are very extempore. So जो आपको ठीक लगता है, like first I used to write with pencils, and I had a manuscript written, handwritten, this thing, one full trunk, and you are so damn emotional about it that you don't want to burn it. कि यार मेरी मैन्युस्क्रिप्ट है. तो my wife was telling me कि साला दो ट्रंक भरे हुए तेरे ये रद्दी पेपर के. So don't call it ruddy paper. This is my hard work. So one day we did a barbecue where I had an intellectual barbecue using these papers. So chicken tandoori on books.
So that's very interesting. Virender, when you sit down to write a book, you said that you think about it or something. How long does it take you to translate your ideas into an actual book? Let's say you conceive of something today and you're writing three, four books. So that means in about 90 days' time, you've done with the book.
Yeah, generally.
And what then you write it and you send it to your publisher and they edit it and they do whatever they have to do with it.
Yeah, like Rupa does a very due diligence on the content. But Pavanna, what has happened is my writing has become a little more refined in the sense that since now I write for so many, I have written about 300-400 articles, and अभी editing का जरूरत पड़ती कम है, in the sense that broadly they might say, okay, we want to take this paragraph and put it ahead of this chapter, or बाद में कर सकते हैं, or if there is something which is politically not right, then they point out. But now I've also become seasoned, so I know not to put my foot in the wrong place. So yeah, they do a lot of editing that goes at least once or twice, two rounds, two iterations, and then thereafter they do a page setting, and then we talk about the title, we finalize the title, the cover designing, all that, then the blurb at the back of the book. So all this is creative. It's good fun.
Virender, is Chat GPT a competition to book writing?
If very frankly, I've heard a lot about it, but there are different things. For example, you can write on a particular topic, but if you want to look at a fiction, romance, I don't know how good it is, but yes, it could be. And in fact, I wrote an article on artificial intelligence. I'll send you a link also. See, artificial intelligence can optimize things. It cannot create things. For example, if you want to create a blade of grass, computers cannot do it. Computers can tell you molecular this thing. It can tell you how to optimize, how to increase the output of, let's say, 1 acre of land. But you have to go back to that seed, no? That seed is nature. So you can't be God. That is the problem.
So,
That
but you see, artificial intelligence does take away a certain portion of book writing.
uh,
You can edit your written work through Chat GPT. You
no,
can
no, but Pawan, I'm
check your
telling you,
grammar completely on Chat GPT.
no, AI and Chat GPT, I agree with you. But if you look today, the book writing has become easier because of the word. Earlier in 81, 83, when I was we were doing a thesis in IIT Bombay, it used to be typed. So you give it to a typist, then you use that white ink,
Right now.
उसको हटाने के लिए गलती हो गई फिर उसको दोबारा retype करो. It was quite a mess.
Ah,
But today with this word and this, you can so quickly correct, वो automatically correct भी कर देता है, spell check भी हो जाता है. So for us it is definitely a very good support. But what you're talking about, the totally replacing
not totally replacing, but uh, s-
will
helps
help.
the output eventually.
Yes, definitely. Like even today's spell check is a big help, no? Like
Absolutely.
so, otherwise you have to open a dictionary, see इसका मतलब क्या है, इसका synonym क्या है, इसका antonym क्या है. अब तो फटाफट मिल जाता है वो. So that way, two people can write a book sitting in two different countries. Two authors can co-author a book
Yeah.
because it becomes so easy. Today, all the files are going by word. Earlier, I remember this first book of Allied, which I did on telecom. It was such a old method. I used to get it typed, put it into a envelope, send it to Delhi. They'll have a look, they'll correct it again, send it back to me. So the time was, abhi to it's, you know, almost in real time.
Yeah,
I can just,
even printing technology has changed to such an extent that you churn out, as a publisher, you can churn out the book much faster
of
after
course,
it's been written.
1 week. Now, two of my books have just gone to the press yesterday, Friday, I think. Next week, it will be on Amazon. It's that easy because the binding, printing, ye sab kuch has become. Now, India, we got world class stuff. Now, the books we used to think कि वो जो random house से वहां से आ रही है या आपा कॉलिन से यूएस से आ रही है, we are making as good, if not better, than them. The paper quality, the kind of see, our guys are very creative. जो cover designs हैं, they are very good. I mean, they are better than the best. So for us also, it's happy days as authors.
Absolutely. Tell me, which is the book that you're most happy with? Like if you were to recall from all the books that you've written, and I ask you, Virender, tell me something about a book that you've written. Which one would you choose?
Yeah, see, a book is like your baby, right? बच्चा होता है आपका. बच्चे सारे अच्छे होते हैं, छोटे बड़े काले पीले नीले सब एक जैसे होते हैं. But the one where I worked a lot was this book called Now Mission Accomplished, which is with Rupa Publishers. Now,
It's been published or it is yet to be published?
no, it's published, it's on Amazon. And I got, sometimes what happens, the biggest kick is when somebody writes about you and you don't know. So when I Google my name, I get some reviews from Canada or somewhere from Australia, somebody has reviewed my book. That is the biggest thrill that you get as an author. So that book I find, I read its review in some Asian literary something, and it was reviewed, which I was amazed. Said, yeah, if I wanted to write my own review, I couldn't have written it better than him. And it was, I'll send you the link after this. You must read that. So it was so good and such a detailed one. The guy had read, I think, from first page to the last page. तो पूरा निचोड़ निकाल दिया उसने उस किताब का. And that was one of my best books. And the other one was this Heart Over Matter now, which is Winning Instinct, which I was selling here, 22 reprints. We gave me a review. This book can change your thinking. I mean, see these magazines like The Week, Business Today, Business India. A lot of people say, "Yeah, how much money you spent on reviews?" I said zero. Second thing is, that, Pawan, let's be very frank. I find this media to be very good. If your stuff is good, they'll give you a good rating. But if your stuff is bad, you can't fudge it. There is no way. You can't fudge with business today, boss. You can't fudge with Business India. You can't fudge with Economic Times. You cannot fudge with India Today or The Week. These magazines have maybe okay. Chalo, you can say I can brave one guy. Say chale yaar, iska acha likh de review.
But like, after the world reads what you are, what all
Yeah, exactly. And you are available. See, Amazon has also been a very big help because now my books are on Amazon all across the world.
yeah, okay.
So, like in .com is America, .au is Australia, .jp is Japan, .de is Germany, .in is India. So once your book starts selling, it goes to all across, the world. And one day I got one, I must tell you, I got a mail because I write my mail ID behind all my books.
Hmm.
Got a mail from a guy in Australia. He wrote I had written a book on Gandhi, Mahatma Gandhi,
Hmm.
leadership of what you can learn from him. So he says, I did not know that you are in Pune because I came here and I watched a match in Pune, cricket match. Had I known, I would have come and met you. So, these are small little thrills you get. Uh,
Absolutely.
somebody,
I've seen that you've written a book on talking the Modi way.
yeah,
What exactly is that book about?
talking the Modi way.
So,
How you
what is the Modi way? What is your interpretation of the Modi way?
you know, I somehow envy a person like our Prime Minister that, you go around so many places and you're not repetitive. And it's not easy. See, if I have to take a class or if I have to deliver a lecture, which I've done hundreds of them, talk shows, I prepare. Even if, let's say, somebody is writing for me, some people say teleprompters. Okay, I say, okay, I'll give you a teleprompter. Can you speak like him? So there is, you see, speaking is basically, it's an art in a way. And you can't copy anyone. But he is, of course, a brilliant speaker and orator. Now, there's a difference between orator and a speaker. Orator speaks from his heart and he connects with the public. So I have, while writing this book on Modi, see, I can write and read Hindi quite well. Thanks to, our background. We are typically a middle class background. So studied in places or Hindi medium schools too. So I he speaks 90% in Hindi. So I had one complete notebook. I saw at least 100 of his speeches in parliament, vagara, vagara. And I used to note down in Hindi in my book. And then from there I used to pick up how he's curated the ideas and what you can learn from him. And there is a lot to learn from all these people. So if you look at even Fidel Castro or you look at Winston Churchill, they were great orators. And जो उन्होंने उस टाइम पे बोला है वो आज भी true है. See, this like V for Victory was started by Churchill, Winston Churchill. Although of course he had a lot of negative things which I learned later on, but uh, Pawan, when first time Winston Churchill was an MP or whatever they call House of Commons, he got up and he froze. He wanted to speak, and after he 2 minutes he froze and he sat down. He could not speak. So then he took up a challenge that I will learn now. So Churchill used to write all his scripts himself. And those days there was only radio. टीवी तो बहुत कम था ना सेकेंड वर्ल्ड वॉर के टाइम पे. But अभी जब media has become so strong, you got clip art, you can put this, something can pop out, pop up. अभी वो ड्रामेबाजी भी चल रहा है काफी. But I had received PM Modi in my college when he was a chief minister. And that time I had not known about him at all. I had not heard about him. So I received him. He came to our stage. Podium was so he gave a lecture. He gave a talk. I was amazed. 1 hour he spoke without any reference to any even a small chit. And obviously it was my stage and I had organized it. So there was no teleprompter. So this bunkum of this teleprompter. अरे मैं बोलता हूँ यार तेरे को दे देता हूँ टेलीप्रॉम्प्टर बोल के दिखा.
So anyway, now Virender, your book on Mission Accomplished, applying military principles to real life. Uh, can you just talk about this and then we'll conclude the session?
These are, if you've been a military man yourself, there are about 8-9 military principles we talk of.
Yeah.
Americans talk about 10 principles. But I have done, if I remember correctly, it's 14 principles. For example, force multiplier. It's not a principle of war as such. If you read Sun Tzu, he talks about, be on the higher ground and you will be winning. The fundamentals. But here I have described operations. You must pick up this book and read. It's available on Amazon.
Yes, certainly.
So, this book, I give let's say, what is force multiplier? And then I use it, I give examples of how it has been used in, let's say, desert storm or whatever. And then I say, what is a force multiplier? Now, for example, if I ask you in medicine, what is a force multiplier? Anesthesia. Now, without anesthesia, today you can operate a heart. Could you do it? Earlier, people, I remember, if you research it, in earlier days, they used to make you drink half a bottle of wine, शराब पिला दी, वो टुन हो गया और उसको आपने फिर उसका जान निकाल दिया. And still it was painful. Today you can remove a guy's leg.
Pain management is an art nowadays.
Sorry?
Managing pain is a good science today in the medicine world.
No, not only see, anesthesia is so brilliant. Without anesthesia, your surgery is zero. So that is a force multiplier. So I say that every organization must look at its own force multiplier. Okay, what can I use? For some organizations, marketing becomes a force multiplier. Your product may be good, but if you don't market it properly, it won't sell.
It won't sell.
So, so I gave you one example of this. Then, mobilization. Then, what we call for innovation, improvisation. Now, there's a chapter on improvisation. In Burma campaign, they used to use these
Bamboo shop.
bamboos. You know that. So all those things, Chindits mein kya hua? So when you give Second World War examples, First World War examples, how they can be now used on your.
Virender, what I did was I took the military principles of war into business. And I realized that all the principles that were propagated by military doctrines was so much applicable in civil life.
Yeah,
And all the business schools, what they've done is they've just changed the names or the headers, and, uh, and the concept is the same, but they just changed the jargon to suit the business world, and it means the same thing.
yeah,
Simple thing, concentration of force. Who doesn't know that, if you want to win something, you need to concentrate on your effort at
yeah,
one place. Like, write a book. So you're thinking about the book, you're concentrating all your energies into one kind of a place. And I don't know what the MBA would be calling it, but the point is that it is a very sound principle, whether it's in war or in business, it's just the same thing.
in life too. In normal, your
Yeah,
day-to-day life, sometimes these things are very important. Like if you remember, we used to have in NDA, pouch ka button band karna.
ah.
Now that's very important.
Otherwise things will fall out of your pouch.
Yeah. And we were so used to it that I don't want, when I brush my teeth, I want to put the cap back. If you see youngsters today, they're not bothered. That's it's a bill that, you have to do it that way. So these are very good teachings, which so as you said, what have you learned from the army? I've learned everything from the army only.
Absolutely. Now, given your wide range of experience, what are your thoughts on youth employment in the country, and how are you contributing to its cause?
Right. I am just writing one book which is already publishing, I think coming out in next 15 days, on how to not to crack a job, but how to become a star performer. See, these are very simple things. Today, through your podcast, let the youth know that you need to work hard. There is no shortcut to working hard. Now, Pavan, wherever you have reached great heights, it's all because I have seen you from such a long time. You were at it, you were so hardworking, organized. So, success doesn't come like that. Like, for example, people say, or you will become a good author and all that. 25 years I've been writing, boss. 25 years work. So you have to be consistent at it. You can't just joke around. Today's generation, I'm telling you, jobs are there. You talk to people, you interview 20 guys, you can't even select one guy.
So true.
So don't blame that jobs are not there. I was just talking to a publisher yesterday, one of the publishers, I'll not name. So he said, sir, I could not speak to you because I was busy interviewing. He said the same thing. Sir, कोई बंदा ही नहीं मिलता.
You don't have the right skills for the job that you have in mind, and that is a big failing. Also, one of the things that I'd like to mention here, Virender, is the difference in attitude to work uh,
हाँ,
in our country and as opposed to the West. Uh, I have seen and I've experienced most of the people in the West do the job themselves.
yeah,
Whereas in India, we tend to delegate much more than people in the West do. I don't know as to what your experiences have been in this area and in the area of publishing, but when you talk to a person in the West, he is, he's the doer of the job most of the times.
see, Pawan, I'll tell you, if you look at two broad blobs, I'm just writing my next book, where we have a blue collar and a white collar.
Yeah.
See, we are so hierarchical in our thinking, जिसको बोलते भाई मेरा लड़का मैनेजर बनेगा. अरे यार सारे मैनेजर बनेंगे तो काम कौन करेगा?
Huh. Because you do an MBA, you do all these academic courses with the intent that you will be a manager straight away. without having moved up the paces of how to do the job, you want to have a lateral placement at the top level.
See, if you remember in the army, we used to dig trenches. We did everything ourselves, what we are expecting our men to.
Yeah.
You will run BPT, you will do weapon training, you can fire better than anyone else. So this is, you have to dirty your hands. Now I have written this, which I have written, I sent it to you, those 10 very short books.
Hmm.
See, when you say skill, what is skill? Skill is, I still don't understand what people talk about skills. See, the skills that we are talking about for jobs is, you know, the attitude itself is not there. I want to work for, sir, 5 days. I want to work only from 9 o'clock to 5 o'clock. ऐसे नहीं चलता काम. You
And this is increasingly coming in because people look at the West and they say कि भाई
हाँ,
America का 5 दिन काम होता है, but they don't realize that people get up at 5 in the morning to reach office by 6:37, and they work till late in the evening every day.
you go out of outside any of the IT companies. There are tapris and these guys selling tea and samosa. Half the time the guys are there.
Yes.
Your already tea breaks are longer than your day.
And I think it's the attitude to work. But let's say, I hope all these things change with India, and the youth really sort of gets down to looking at what would make them valuable to the organization that they are working in. And if they realize that and they bring in the right attitude, then the things would be entirely different.
See, you are not doing a favor as a worker to the boss or to the, let's say, owner of a company. And the owner of the company is also not doing you a favor by employing you. It's a,
It's a mutual thing because you need a job and he needs a person to do the job.
yeah, I say I give me 50,000 rupees a month, but I'll employ you if you give me at least 1 lakh return, no? Why will I employ you otherwise? So this is where the जो वो एक कह रहा था ना साडा हक ऐथे रख.
No,
Now,
Brenda, I think we come to the end of this interesting talk that we've had after a long time. And I thank you for your time, Virendra. And I think with this podcast really spreads itself, I hope people take a lot of learning lessons from what we've discussed today. Thank you very much. Thank you.
thank you. Bye.